We're going to talk about why the system, the one you gave your life to, is collapsing. Why that's terrifying if you built your identity inside it. Why your children, even when concerned, aren't afraid. And why that's exposing the lie. And most importantly, why the ground, safety, you're searching for was never outside you. It was always you. That's sovereignty, not as a concept, as your origin, your only real ground. And by the end of this, you'll see, clearly, how to stand in it, even while everything else shakes. You built your life on a system that was never real, not metaphorically, literally. The rules you followed, man-made. The rewards you chased, designed to keep you compliant. The identity you wore, assembled from beliefs handed down by institutions that are now crumbling in real time. Religion, politics, family structures, time, money, success, worth, safety. These are just a few, but all of it socially constructed, agreed upon, enforced for ages before your time, and forced by agents of the system, teachers, preachers, parents, bosses, coaches, gurus, algorithms. It's a well-constructed maze. You didn't choose the maze. You were born into it. And you were taught relentlessly that your survival depended on playing inside it. So you did. You climbed. You performed. You sacrificed. You earned the titles, the money, the approval. You constructed the right life. And now, the system is breaking. Inflation is eating savings. Jobs are vanishing overnight. Institutions are being exposed as corrupt. Relationships are fracturing under the weight of inherited trauma. Your kids? They're not trying to fix the system. They're walking around it like it's a broken vending machine. And you? You're standing in the middle of it, terrified. Because everything you anchored your identity to is dissolving. And no one warned you. No one told you the ground you were standing on was made of paper. The maze was never real. It was a story, a very convincing one, backed by laws, reinforced by culture, sanctioned by generations, but still, a story. A dream dreamed by a few long ago. Put a pin in that. We'll return to it. We've been trained to believe life is a maze that we have to figure it out, solve it, conquer it. But the maze was never real. It was only ever a story, a dream. And now, awakening to the fact that life is but a dream happens differently for everybody. For some, it's gradually, but for others, life strips them bare in an instant. It doesn't ask permission, and it doesn't move gently. It takes what you thought defined you, status, money, health, friends, family. Piece by piece, it all falls away, and every loss cuts deeper, pressing you into the raw truth of yourself. You tell yourself it can't get any harder, but then it does. A life that's been constructed according to the system's maze is doing as it's made to. Dissolve. The roles you lived for, the trust you leaned on, the love you thought would last, all of it in the maze dissolves. What's left is not the story of who you were, but being itself. And in that stillness, a choice you didn't know was available to you appears. Will you curse life for undoing you? Or will you recognize the signal hidden in the undoing? What many are experiencing is a forced awakening that feels like destruction. It feels like life setting fire to everything you've built. But if you can stay with it, if you don't turn away, something begins to stir beneath the ashes. Not a thought, not an idea, but a knowing that doesn't need proof or reason. That is gnosis, your origin speaking. beyond ego, beyond loss, beyond suffering, a remembering of what has always been real. But the maze, it keeps you busy, distracted, always searching, never arriving. You chase the carrot dangled in front of you, money, love, status, answers, down endless rabbit holes. And when you're not standing in sovereignty, you'll go chasing any promise of reward. That's what the maze feeds on. Your attention. Here's what you didn't know. The world you trusted wasn't neutral. It was dreamed. A made-up world with rules someone wrote. If it's man-made, it's fake. So what you've been defending, no matter the reasons, was often a performance dressed up like truth. The history you memorized? Dreamed. The borders you obey? Dreamed. The ladders you climbed? Staged. When the rules, shoulds, and orders are shaped and made by people, it can be dismantled by people. And that's what we're watching. The system never stops auditioning. Everyone is being cast into roles. Authenticity was crowded out by cosplay. Remember the Joneses, the movie of made-up families that influenced neighborhoods with global ripple effects? That wasn't satire. That was the maze's blueprint. And because it's a story, it's also a dream that became the American dream. All societal rules were made up to sort people, to differentiate, to entice, and to control. Race lines, zip codes, borders, hierarchical power, all devices in the script. The whole world is a stage, but when the script loses its believers, the stage starts creaking. So what's real? You. As much as your job feels real and your title, they're not. Your bank account, no matter the number it shows, not real. Even your traumas and your role in the family, not real. So as you shift from one spiritual practice to another, thinking it's progress, it's all within the maze, and it loves it when you make lateral moves because they're not real. Let's review. What is real? You. The part of you that existed before the system got its hands on you, before you were told who to be, what to want, how to earn safety. That part is still here, solid, unshakable, untouched by collapse. That's sovereignty. Sovereignty is not a philosophy, neither a practice, or a destination in the by and by. No. Sovereignty is your origin, the ground beneath the maze. Beneath the ashes something stirs, not mere thought but gnosis speaking, ushering you back to solid ground. Now let's get tangible. This isn't about leaving your life necessarily. It's about realizing you were never meant to build your identity on something man-made, something temporary, something designed to break. You were meant to stand on what cannot be taken away, your worth, your presence, your knowing. Not because you've efforted your way and now healed enough, or because you meditated enough, or because you did the work. No, just because you are. And if you've been trying to fix yourself to feel whole again, I need you to hear this. When the system shakes, and it is shaking, you don't need to fix it. And if you've been trying to fix yourself to feel whole again, I need you to hear this. Consider how the fixing industry got folded into the maze. Therapy, antidepressants, self-help, all useful tools, were repurposed into a repair economy that often treats manufactured insufficiency as a personal defect. The system creates dramas, hands out scripts, and then sells the cleanup. Shows like Oprah's own program Ayanla, Fix My Life, helped people sit with pain, but they rarely pointed at the stage that wrote the scene. That's why no amount of therapy or medication will ever be enough while the system keeps producing new problems to manage. You need to remember where your feet are. The rules have never applied to all, and now even the ones written in the Constitution are crumbling. Again, they're man-made, but you're not standing on those. Sovereignty isn't shaken when the system's rewards start to fade, and certainly not watching the opinions of agents still selling tickets to a sinking ship because you remember where your feet are. On your own ground. Solid. Sovereign. Real. Your children aren't afraid because they never bought the lie. Each generation has related to the maze based on where it was, including the fear factors. And children since the 90s have been born less and less afraid because their courage has to match the changes that have to be made for the current maze's dream to dissolve. This is also why there's so much fallout in families today, not for lack of love, but they're pre-coded to deal with the maze differently, and that includes family.
You're afraid because you lived it. That's not weakness. That's intelligence. And now, you get to choose. Not to survive the collapse, but to stand in it. From the only ground that never moved. You were designed to feel broken, so you would keep buying, keep striving, keep apologizing, keep performing, keep digging in holes that were never meant to hold you. This is not your fault. It is the system's design. Although there are people behind the design, what's tripped us all up is on autopilot now, and we've been breathing it since birth. The rules that say your value is tied to your output, the belief that peace is something you earn after you get your life together. The story that love must be earned through sacrifice. The idea that success means climbing ladders built on someone else's blueprints. The script that tells you college, job, marriage, house, retirement equals happiness. Spoiler, the script was written to keep you running, not arriving. The maze is not a place. It is a pattern, a looping, self-replicating, beautifully disguised set of beliefs, masquerading as truth. You can leave your 9-to-5 and become an entrepreneur and still be inside the maze. You can leave your church and join a retreat and still be inside the maze. The maze does not care what corridor you're in. It only cares that you never stop looking outside yourself for the answer. It wants you seeking, not remembering. Because the moment you remember, the moment you realize you were never lost and never insufficient and never not enough, the whole illusion trembles. This is why so many high achievers, the ones with titles, bank accounts, and perfect lives, are quietly crumbling inside. They did everything right. They followed every rule. They climbed every rung. And now they're standing at the top, on a ladder nailed to the wrong wall. They are not broken. They are awakening. That anxiety you feel when you sit alone at night, that hollow ache beneath the Instagram smile, that quiet rage when someone tells you you should be grateful, none of that is a disorder. It is your sovereignty knocking. Sovereignty is not a buzzword. It is not a destination. It is not something you achieve after 10 meditations and a juice cleanse. It is your origin. Before the world handed you a name, a role, a resume, a diagnosis, you were whole, solid, unshakable, free. Sovereignty is the ground beneath the maze. The dirt may shift, the corridors may collapse, but you are the bedrock. You were taught to forget this. You were taught to trade your wholeness for safety, your intuition for approval, your truth for a title. You were handed a map and told, this is reality, when in truth it was a menu of pre-approved exits from your own soul. But here is the beautiful, terrifying, liberating truth. You do not need to fix yourself. You do not need to heal yourself. You do not need to become sovereignty. You already are. Here's what you just covered. The system is man-made, and it's collapsing. You built your identity inside it, so its collapse feels like personal failure. It's not. Your children aren't afraid because they never internalized the lie. That's not rebellion, that's clarity. The ground you're searching for, it was never outside you. It was always you. Sovereignty isn't something you earn, it's what you are. Your origin, your only real ground. You do not need to fix your life. You need to remember who you are beneath the roles, the rules, and the receipts. This is also not about burning everything down. It is about turning your gaze inward, not to fix, not to heal, not to level up, but to sit in the truth of what was always real. If you're ready to go deeper, not to fix, not to heal, not to level up, but to sit in the truth of what was always real, I wrote something for you. Remembering your sovereignty is you remembering what was real about you before the maze. It's not more steps to do, affirmations to make, or another how-to that guides you. No, it's a space where you can sit, breathe, and remember what was true before the world handed you its story. You'll find the link in the description below for the ebook and for one-on-one opportunities with someone who can hold space for where you are in real time, because I live it. Welcome home. Not because you arrived, but because you never left. I know it feels like you're losing your footing. You're not. You're just learning to feel what's real again. This is remembering what's real.